Welcome all. Let's get started with practice 11.1 file handling transfer to HCM Cloud. And as noted here in the practice guide, the instructor demo is what this is normally is done in the classroom environment. But again, since this is a self-paced, I believe you may want to try to do this yourself. Execute this task through, and I'm going to go through it as if I was you doing this yourself, and then I'll take about a few things that I normally would you do if I was doing this is a demo in live classroom. Prerequisite here, you should already have the SCM demo connection that gets us to the SCM cloud service that we have, and that same FTP server that we were using in an earlier exercise is accessed via the FTP demo connection. Now you should also have the artifacts that are listed here in your resources folder, and to include an integration we will use to get us started for this particular demo. Most of the implementation has been completed. Really, all we are going to do is activate it and run it. So let's talk about the use case a little bit to make sure you understand what's involved. This is an electronic income with holding orders that are used by the Office of Child Support Enforcement, which is simple way of exchanging these documents between various agencies and employers. Long story short, HCM Cloud has an easy feature to load these kind of source files into the cloud and then update their imply in voluntary deductions cards and components and generate audit reports, as you can see here. So the way the integration is going to work once we import it in it on a schedule basis, it's going to automatically run, or could do it on demand to retrieve the text file from the FTP location, convert that into the SCM data loader format. Then it will load it up to UCM, send you a notification that has been loaded, and then execute a process in SCM Cloud to take it from UCM to do the task. Now, here is a diagram of what the integration flow will look like, and of course, the way it works if there are no text file, when it does a run, it just simply skips out, and instead of executing all the steps, you'll receive a notification that there was no files to process. So here is summary of the 8 steps that it is at high level. I encourage you to read that to review what's happening in the logic of this flow. Let's do the tasks together here now. Part one is to make sure we have got everything set up on our FTP server. We are going to again FileZilla, connect to FileZilla, and file location. You should have that information already shortcut. Hopefully that you can get to your location on that server. And what we need here to create a couple of directories. What I'm going to do right now, EIW underscore source and EIW underscore target, and we want to make sure then we locate those two text files and copy them into the source so that what it run. So I'm going to do that right now. Let's go to FileZilla, and again I have created my uh, shortcut called OIC training, and this is where I left off before. If you recall, I was using the Aura 28 folder. Now the instructions have my right clicked and create a couple of new folder. EIWO underscore source. Spelling is important because it needs to match up with what we are looking for, and W uh, O O and then target. Okay. That's one zero. I think. I think location underscore target. I believe that's the correct name. I just want to make sure I got that spelling right. Yeah, IWO underscore source and target. Yeah. And so the last part of this is the source directory over here. in my resources folder. I want to locate and find those two text files, and they're right at the top. I am just simply going to copy them over into here, and just to review now. Notice the target is empty. When we're done, we are going to have a file sitting in there for us. But for right now, we have those two text files. If you want to look at those, how they are formatted and the data they contain, you are certainly welcome to do that. All right. So that takes care of the setup for the files that need to be read. We are going to keep FileZilla running, and we are going to stay connected so we can back later to look at the result after we created the schedule orchestration activation. Part two, we want to import the pre-built integration. This is called EIW to HCM Cloud Demo IAR. We simply do an import into our environment, and once we have imported that, we are going to need now to configure a connection. Let me import first, and I'm going to click on import, choose that file. There it is. There is the implementations file right there. Open it up, and I'm just going to click import because the configuration is, configuring is actually going to be done separately with the connection object that is already there. So now that's the imported. Notice the next instruction here. We need to go into the connections, and two of the connections are already defined, the FTP demo and SCM demo. Well, you see there is the third connection called UCM underscore IOW that was automatically imported, but its connection information needs to be completed. I am going to do that now. If you look at the instructions, we need to get the full path uh, to the WSDL. In order to find that, we are going to use that host information for our Oracle SaaS Fusion URL, and then append this string following that. So I'm literally going to do both of these right now. It's clicked on connections. There's that UCM EIW. I click on that to edit it, and that's where I need to that WSDL URL. So if you recall earlier, uh, when we were setting up connection and configuration in practice 5.1, we had a fusion URL that was provided to you. You are going to use that again. There is the right here there. That's what we are going using in our class. And then I need that additional information to append to that. Yeah. So next, so I'll copy that and append that. So there is my full vista. Now let's look at the instructions, and they simply say, yeah, well, we are going to use the same credential you would use for SCM Cloud, just provide that in there. So we'll do that now. There is the SCM Cloud username. I'll scroll down to security and its password, and I can verify uh, that I got my password type correctly. And we are going to after that uh, we are going to click on test, and test will do a good enough job for now. If there was a problem, I had want to go to test and will let to see if there's a problem. Well, that confirmed very quickly. So now I can save it, and it shows uh, the associated integration that's already using this one, which is the one we just imported. And now that's it. I can exit the page with the little button. Again, reminder: the lab instruction shows a slightly older screenshot and information that's no longer close button, which moves us to part 3. We are ready to activate test, and we will talk about the integration flowing together. So first activity is easy. I go back to my integration page, find my integration which is ready to go. And by the way, I'm going to just go ahead and click the activate button. We're not going to we're enabling the tracing and including the payload and activate. We are not going to set up a schedule just now. Take a few seconds, close this, and I'm going to refresh the page to make sure it's an active state. But before I do anymore, now before we go any further, I thought I would just kind of step in and we just kind of take a look at it for a moment now that it's active. And you can see those high level sets we talked about before are all indicated by these web protections along the way. We're going to look at this a little bit with close a little bit later on. But the important thing for now is I want you to take a note is when you look at the schedule parameters, this one is taking advantage of three schedule parameters. One in a notification email, so we can get a email notification on certain aspects of the processing. And notice that we have sort of provided the locations to where the source and target directories are going to be. This will be important when we get ready to actually execute our run. So let me close this. Let me go back to our instructions. And it really talks about what we need to do a run. When we click on the Submit Now button from Action menu, notice that it's going to pop up this dialog box to allow us to accept default values and or update them to new value. Obviously you are need to update the value for source and target it for some reasons. It's not the same as what I have done in that setup demo, but definitely you want to update your notification email, so you will get an email notification as opposed to nobody. So that's what we're going to do that right now. Let's go ahead and do the submit. Remember, the submit is no longer in active action menu. It's over here on the run. And that's where the submit now link is. I click on that. It brings uh, up the three values. I can see what those current values are. I like the first two, but I don't like the third one. So actually, I'm going to put in my email address so that